Hello, I'm Joe Perino, and welcome to Sound Off. This podcast is part of the EKT Interactive Learning Network and is brought to you by Oil 101, a free 10-part introduction to the oil and gas industry. In this podcast, I wanted to revisit the question, is premium branded gasoline worth it? If you recall, from that podcast, we examined three scenarios with regard to premium gasoline. 1, should you buy the cheapest gasoline? 2, should you buy the cheapest gasoline and add a aftermarket additive such as Chevron's Techron? Or 3rd, should you fill up at the premium branded gasoline pump every time? Well, it looks like things haven't changed since then, although gasoline prices have. In fact, on my way back from the EKT Interactive Studios, I had noticed that afternoon that the gasoline prices had shifted about 20 cents a gallon along all the stations en route back to my home. So that meant that the Kroger station, which was at $1.55, went up to about $1.75, and now more recently $1.80. And the Chevron station shifted from $1.59 cash price to $1.79. with premium still being $2.69, $2.79, or $2.89. So still a substantial gap there. Now the interesting thing is that Kroger bounced back and set their gap between regular and premium at 40 cents a gallon, which is the typical gap. Since late March and into April, Kroger's been running a special where the gap is now back to 15 to 20 cents. So that premium can be bought at Kroger for about $2 a gallon. And that again is here at the end of April. Another thing I followed up on was the price of these third-party additives. If you recall last time I said you could get a bottle of Techron concentrate for about $8.35, sometimes a little bit more at automotive stores. However, I went back to Walmart and they have both Techron and STP for about $5.35 a bottle. So that means one bottle treats 15 gallons of gasoline and should be used every 3,000 miles. So if we update the numbers, the added cost per gallon for the third-party additive is not 5.5 cents a gallon, but probably now closer to 4 cents a gallon. So now you take a look at the Kroger versus Chevron station, and you see that Kroger you can fill up there for about $2.05 a gallon, including the additive, whereas Chevron is still now at $2.79. So there's still a substantial gap. And in fact, the gap between some premium branded stations and a Kroger or a Raceway or wherever is so large that you could actually add a bottle of the third-party concentrate to each and every tank that you fill up and still be less than filling up at the premium branded gasoline station. And recall now, that means you're going to get 10 times the concentrate, in the case of Techron, by using the additive than you are by simply filling up at the gas station. So now you can see, again, how much these premium branded gasolines enhance the margin for the gasoline retailer. Now, speaking of enhanced margin, another thing to look at is the fact that most most branded gasoline stations and some unbranded charge a premium for accepting credit cards. So I looked into this, and a very rich source of information is the 2015 National Association of Convenience Stores report, which tells us that about 75 to 80% of gasoline is purchased using debit and credit cards. Price is still the number one criteria, and people will drive out of their way as much as 10 miles to get gasoline that is less expensive. Now, they also report that the cost of the various purchase methods ranges from zero cost to the retail station for cash, about 1% to handle a debit card, and between 2 and 3% to handle a credit card. And that depends on what card you're using, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, etc. So let's assume that you're paying $2 a gallon. That means that the cost of credit would be 4 to 6 cents more. But I think, as most of us have noticed, the typical cost of credit is 10 cents more per gallon, and not just the 4 to 6 cents. I've seen it range from 4 cents at one unbranded station to as much as 20 cents at certain branded gasoline stations. So again, this is another way of their ability to enhance their margin through the premium charge for using a credit card. Now, going forward, I'm going to keep my eye on this subject. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about, and I'll get back to you with another updated podcast in the future. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or would like to make a comment, we'd like to hear from you.